Hi, I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today we're going to be working with some text and some horizontal lines that go off into the horizon. We're going to have a lot of fun with this project as we place our text in between two lines. Now, just before we get going, working with the text, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Well, here we are in Cricut Design Space, and I have uploaded a file called Horizontal Lines. These are lines that go in a perspective off into the horizon. Now, because these are SVG files, I'm able to make them as long as I want, as long as they go to the pointed end here. I would suggest not grouping these, but then you can just expand how big or how wide you want them to go. And we can probably go about here, just as long as it fits within the parameters. Yes, it does. Now, what we're going to do with those horizontal lines is basically we're going to use them as a template. In other words, we're going to put something inside these lines that go off into the horizon so we get a really good look at how we can make some designs that are a little bit different than everyone else. So let's start by doing some text that goes off into the horizon. And the reason I have 3 here is so that you can either make it smaller or larger depending on what you want to do. So let's just click on the text box here and let's just type in a saying, and happiness seems like a good one to use. Now, I don't necessarily like the font for this one. So I'm going to come over here to the font and I'm going to choose something a little different. Let's go to Cricut fonts here and see what we've got. Now, I notice that some of them have a charge against them. Well, you might make sure you pick a font that doesn't have a charge. Now, I like this one. We're going to change this. Now, the first thing we want to do is move the angle so that we're at least hitting the right angle. And it looks like we're a little bit off here. So let me just pull this down a bit. We want to change the angle so that it fits on that one parallel line. That looks pretty good. Just put the P's below it. And I think we'll have it go just a little bit like this. Now, I want to ungroup this because I want to change the size of each of the letters so it fits within this line. So let's start by coming over here to the layers and clicking on ungroup. And we can start with our S here. And all we're going to do is we're going to shrink the size so it fits in the space. Looks pretty good. I'd make it a little bit smaller. But you still want it to fit on the line. Okay, that one looks pretty good. Let's go to the next S and let's change its size. Now that looks pretty good in the perspective. What I want to do now is I'm just going to group these together. So let's just select everything. We seem to have everything in there, and we have our 3 horizontal lines. Well, I don't want to use those anymore, so I'm going to turn off the eyeballs with it. Actually, we're going to take it out of the group with a shift click. And that should just select the word happiness. We're going to group it. Now I'm going to turn the eyeballs off because we're using this as a template. Turn off that and you can see that this goes off into the horizon. Now we can take that group and we can change the angle of it as you want, but as you can see, it fits the smallness and it goes off into the horizon. Now I'm going to weld those together. Now it has become one piece. If you look over in the layers panel, you'll see that it is one piece. So that becomes a little bit bigger than I wanted, I think. Let me see. It is a little bit bigger, so let's just resize this a bit. Now these are the parallel lines that I chose that sort of fit a railway pattern, but you could adjust the angle of this so that it looks like it goes off in another angle, off into the distance. You could make it really small at the end. So that's all there is to making text inside some parallel lines off into the distance. Well, I hope you really enjoyed working with the text and putting them between lines so your words go right off into the horizon. It was a lot of fun to put together, and it's not that difficult. You should be able to do this without any issues with any font that you choose to use. Now, just before we get going, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and happy crafting!